School is a school for autistic children and young adults, and we've set this podcast up to provide our pupils with a fantastic opportunity to develop a range of different skills whilst interviewing top sportsmen and women from a variety of different sports.
Joining us today on the TWS Sports Podcast is a former professional footballer. He played for teams such as Shrewsbury Town and has gone on to managing Telford United and is the current manager of Brackley Town. Welcome to the podcast, Gavin Cowan.
Yeah.
Sorry if I butchered that.
I've been called worse, mate. Don't worry. Don't worry about that.
We like to start our podcast with some random questions before we start talking about your career. You up for that?
Yes, absolutely. Ready.
Who is the most famous person in your phone book?
Oh, that's one of my kids asked me this the other day. It's a close one. So I've got my favourite one. My favourite really famous person would be Joe Hart. So he's in there. Sol Campbell. Remember Sol Campbell, the football used to play for Arsenal? So Sol's in there, ex-England international. Another one that a lot of football people will know, Brian Little. Big Aston Villa connection there. So I'd probably say Joe Hart.
Okay. If you could trade life with anyone for a day, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a great question. Who would I trade life with? What's important? I do look sometimes at David Beckham and just think it would be incredible to be him. You know, someone who's got a brilliant family. He obviously has projects that he really enjoys. Walks into every room and he's, you know, not only is he brilliant to look at, but he's also really articulate and clever. So, yeah, I think he would be that English rose. But I don't know, if we're sticking to sport, it's a hard one, isn't it? I'd probably say I wouldn't want to be anyone else for too long, but maybe for half a day I'd like to experience what it's like to be him.
Okay. If you could have any superpower, what would you have and why?
Superpower, pace. Probably be able to run fast, which I never ever had.
So like the Flash or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Only
I'll be the Flash.
Only maybe not as fast, otherwise how? You'd probably whack right into a wall!
Yeah, probably just run straight head
without
first.
Flash's suit, he burns up because of how fast he goes.
Yeah.
The friction.
Yeah.
So I need the suit, so I can't do that. Probably the ability to get a tan. So all of my family, other than me and my youngest daughter, we don't get tan.
We burn.
So we've just come back from holiday, and my wife, my eldest daughter, and my two sons look golden, and me and my youngest daughter look like we've been to the Antarctic. So we're maybe the ability to get a tan or pace, or superpower would be what would be my superpower? I'm already stronger than my two fellow podcast guys on In the Stiff, so that's a neat. That I don't really need that.
How old are your kids?
My eldest one is 19. My eldest boy is 17. My youngest boy is 12, and my youngest girl is 8.
I recommend mind reading, so you know. So for the youngest, so you know if they're lying about doing something, and the eldest, so
What
you
a great shout! That's it. You've made up my mind for me. Mind reading.
And the oldest to also to make sure they haven't been sneaking out because they're at their age.
Exactly. Hang on a minute. I've got it now, Daniel. Oh, you can't call me that, Daniel. I've got the ability to read out. Daniel, you're not allowed to say that about me. Keep that to yourself.
I am actually.
I can read your mind. Be nice. So the ability to mind read, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that.
Thank you for answering those questions. Let's talk about your career. We want to take you back to the beginning and talk about your childhood. You were born in Germany. What are your memories? What are your memories of growing up, and did you always want to be a footballer?
Yeah, always wanted to be I was lucky I had a bigger brother. So when I was 2 years old, there was a football at my feet. He was kicking me up and down the stairs, across the living room, over the field. Basically, he had to babysit me. I've got an older brother and an older sister, but my brother was very heavily into football. And yeah, I attribute a lot of going on to play a lot of football in my career because of my brother, really. So yeah, always from a really young age. Back then there was no devices, so there was no phones and no iPads, and I think we had a computer that my brother would let me on every now and again. It was an Atari. And Yeah, so it was all just, there was no distractions. It was outside in the garden doing keepy-ups, kicking the ball against the wall, playing Kirby. So yeah, I was always had a football at my feet.
Kirby, is that the weird little pink thing?
Yes.
No, different type of Kirby. Kirby is a game where we stand either side of the road and I try and throw the football to hit the curb to bounce back, and I've got to try and catch it before it bounces, and then if I can't do it, it goes to you and vice versa.
Okay.
So, incredible game, probably the greatest game that's ever been invented.
Bit of a off-script question, and I tend to try and ask this with all my footballers. When you were young, did you ever send a football through a window?
I used to do that a lot in my career, actually. A lot of the time it would go either through a window or over the stand. But yes, I did. I remember once my mum and dad were out at work, and my brother and sister are 6 and 7 years older than me. And me and my brother were playing in the garden, and I tried an outrageous shot, and it went and smashed the window, and yeah, we all got told off.
Uh-oh.
But being the youngest, it's great because actually my brother got told off more than me, even though it was my fault because he was the eldest.
My house, it's whoever did it gets the blame.
Yeah, ours was, my brother always used to take the blame for me, so I was the golden boy, I think, so I used to get away with it.
And you started your career at, Braintree Town. What are your memories of joining the club?
Yeah, so I'd actually I'd played for numerous cup clubs and been to like Arsenal and QPR and Ipswich and Colchester and all of these. Back then you could sort of interlink for all of the academies, and you'd go to the best one that was relevant at the time. And then I actually signed for Exeter, so played there first, and then came away from there, went to Braintree, and the funny thing was that I spoke to the manager, and it was when I'd had my time at Ipswich. There was a guy there called Simon Milton who was played in the Premier League for a long time, and I was very, very close to signing for Ipswich, and it fell through at the last minute, so I was a little bit sort of in the wilderness, nowhere really to go. And Simon at the time had retired and was playing part-time for Braintree. So we just said, why don't you come training? And I walked in one day and there was just loads of lads on the pitch already. So I'd been given the wrong time. I was probably late knowing me. I'd been given the wrong time, and when I got onto the pitch I just started training with the lads. No one really said anything. And then a week later the manager called me and just said, where were you? I was, oh, you've lost me. He's like, why didn't you come to training? I said, we trained on the pitch. I'd actually trained with the reserves. So then I'd scored, I just said, oh, actually I quite like these lads, I'm enjoying my football. I ended up scoring 18 goals in about 12 games from centre half. And then the first team came and offered me a deal, and yeah, that was it. Then I was in with some amazing ex-players, senior pros like Lee Hunter, Robbie Reinhold, like some really, really great guys, Terry Howard, that had really long distinguished careers and were really, really good to me and took me under their wing. So it was a real good, I suppose, having come out of my apprenticeship, it was a real good learning lesson for me.
You left Canvey?
Yes, Canvey.
Canvey Island after falling out of favour with the manager, Jeff King. How hard is it as a player when the manager no longer sees you as a starting player?
Well, I think it was a little bit different to that. Jeff was actually a fantastic human being. He was an absolute brilliant guy who owned practically all of Canvey Island, the football club. He was the manager, the chairman, and I had ambitions to go on, and he wanted me to sign a new contract, and I was keen to. I was doing relatively well at the time, playing for the England C team and getting a few plaudits and a few people interested in me, and I just felt as though that I was going to try and hold out, and they were trying to offer me a contract around January time, and I didn't want to sign it. And then there was a little, become a bit disgruntled by this time, and to say we fell out, I wouldn't say we fell out, but I think he really wanted me to sign and felt like I owed the club something, and I wanted to move on, and in the end did so. So yeah, it was good. Jeff was always brilliant with me. He was always fantastic, but he really wanted me to sign that contract, and he'd been very, very good to me, very, very good to me. But I think in the end, I still speak to him now. He lives in Monaco. He does all right. So I don't think he thinks about me too much.
You were impressed in non-league football and were picked up by Shrewsbury Town in 2005. How did it feel joining a professional club?
Yeah, well, I'd been at professional clubs previously. I'd played for Exeter City as well, so it was something that I was really keen to go back to, having played sort of quite a few years in non-league. Started to really excel, which was great. And then actually what happened from Canvey was they weren't allowing me to sign anywhere, so there was a considerable amount of weeks or a couple of months left of the season. So really just to get me out of the way and just to keep the peace, they said to me, right, well, you can't sign for anyone in our league, which was the national, you're going to have to drop below. And then I was in the bath, and a guy who was representing me called me and just said, oh, Nuneaton are interested. And I didn't have a clue where Nuneaton was, and thankfully for me, I went out on loan there and did really, really well and got quite a few plaudits. And everybody at Nuneaton were just incredible people, fantastic supporters. The people at the club at the time were amazing. And I just had a really good sort of 13, 14 games. And in that time, I think then there was Notts County and Aldershot and Barnet were in the league at the time, and Shrewsbury. And I just remember playing for Nuneaton and winning a game at midweek. And as I tried to come down the tunnel, the manager at the time, Gary Peters, I didn't know it was him, but I was trying to get down the tunnel, and this guy was barging into me and pushing his back up against me, and I said, excuse me, mate, can you let me get through to the changing rooms? I'm trying to get changed here, the game's over. And it was actually the manager trying to size me up to see how big I was, and then I got a call on the way home, and it was like, yeah, they've bid money for you. So I was waiting to the end of the season to potentially probably go to Notts County, but Shrewsbury had bid money, and then that was it. Then I was off down the motorway.
Apparently this is 100% true and comes from a very reliable source.
Oh no.
That on your first day at Shrewsbury, you arrived with blonde highlights,
Right.
covered in fake tan,
Yeah.
wearing a gold necklace, a white vest, and no socks on. What were you thinking?
Okay, so that's come from Sam Aston, who's a compulsive liar. So I wouldn't believe any of that. But I do think I might have had some, I don't know, I might have been in the sun, so I might have just got a bit of blonde in my hair. But as for the other stuff, no, I wouldn't believe a word he says.
We actually have a picture from your first day arriving in training at Shrewsbury. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, please. Oh, that's exactly me. It's not even photoshopped.
Busted!
The blonde highlight, super. Yeah. That has definitely come from him. But do you know what? I'd take that. I look in good shape there. I'd look in good shape. I'll give that to the camera. That's probably the best I've ever looked. The vest would probably be a bit tighter though. Oh, who's that horrific thing there? Is that a monster? Oh, that's an ugly thing, isn't it? That's me running away from this monster thing. Very good. Very good. Shirt's a bit baggy on Sam, isn't it? Get in the gym. Thank you for that, guys. Thank you for that, guys. It's very, very matches the likeness very well.
No, it doesn't.
The hair was probably blonder.
Okay.
A reliable source also continues by saying to ask you why you used to have a white patch on your back.
I'm not sure where that one comes from. I think that's insinuating that I can't reach round with tan. But again, compulsive liar. I wouldn't listen to a word he says.
Look at the camera and tell him what you think of him.
Oh, if only I could, Alicia. If only I could. He knows exactly what I'll be saying to him.
Well, then yes, children.
yeah, exactly. He's been on this podcast, hasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Did he manage to fit his forehead into the camera?
Well, he wasn't as good as you, Gav. We had to do Sam virtually, didn't we? Yeah, we couldn't get him in person.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Too big time.
Too big time. Can't hold him to his word. Definitely not.
Mm-hmm. You had a good first season at Shrewsbury, finishing in 10th place. How do you look back on your first season at the club?
Yes, I actually went in my first season, if you like. I went in at the back end of the season, and I wasn't really supposed to play, but we were really close to the bottom of the league. And I always tell everyone that I was the saviour, came in and saved the football club, and they should all be very thankful to me. But it wasn't quite like that. I ended up having to play the last game. We were in dire straits and really desperate to get a few results. So yeah, they put me in for the last 5 games, and I did quite well actually. And we managed to stay up, and it was a really good grounding. And what I'd say about the football club is that when I signed and went for my medical at the ground, it was very much, you know, the old gay meadow, which was, you know, really good to be around. But having then gone to the training ground, I was a little bit underwhelmed. So then when I'd been there towards the end of the season, I'd then come back for pre-season the following season, and credit to Gary Peters and the chairman, they'd really made the club, you know, they'd really taken it up a notch in terms of professionalism. So it was really good to be there. And that season was, you know, full of learning curves for me, full of making really good friends and enjoying my football.
We have got a number of photos that we have found of you. We will show you a photo, and I want you to tell us what memories it brings, or a little bit about this photo. Is that okay?
Absolutely. So look.
Don't worry, our reliable source had nothing to do with this.
No, I'm sure.
Very reliable source.
Yeah.
As we said.
Tackle. That was probably after my first touch. So I probably controlled it and then needed to tackle someone. So yeah, no, I did enjoy a tackle. I did used to enjoy that physical side of it and enjoy a tackle, but always fair.
Nowadays you just get tackled by your children.
Absolutely, yeah. I definitely do that, especially my oldest boy. He's getting stronger than me now. So yeah, no, I enjoyed a tackle. And that was, like I say, that was probably after my first touch. I was probably chasing it. What's the next one? Right, okay. I actually don't remember this. I don't know where this was. It looks like I'm wearing Sam Haston's normal clothes. Probably for a laugh, so yeah. I look alright there, don't I? I look a little bit cross between Shawn Michaels from Shawn Michaels WWE and Rod Stewart. It's alright, that. Let's have a look. Yeah, well, one of my favourite photos. That's me and my wife. Incredible day. This was actually, we were talking about this the other day, so we actually got married in Santorini. Beautiful, beautiful venue. Friends and family came out. We had the greatest week, but being a man of faith, I really wanted to do the blessing in the church. So we did it at St Chad's in Shrewsbury, but it was supposed to literally just be the blessing and go, but my wife turned it into a whole new second wedding. It was as big as the first one, so yeah, I'm still recovering from that. But yeah, my beautiful wife, Jason Punching.
Sounds like she's the boss.
No.
He does.
She has you wrapped around her finger, doesn't she?
Well, yeah, I'd say that. I think I've got her wrapped around my finger as well. There's a good balance there, but yeah, certainly on that day, it was very difficult to say no to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But no, she's incredible. I'm very, very lucky, and like I say, she's a lucky lady as well. The thorn between two roses there, that you can see. Sam, have you noticed how he gets his curly hair and pulls it forward to cover his forehead? His hairline's back here and stuff. So he looks little there, doesn't he, between me and Dave? Look how much stronger and bigger and in shape me and Dave look compared to Sam. Dave just looks beautiful, doesn't he? When you say about a day in the life of someone, it's probably I'd like to spend a day in Dave's life, just to experience what a wonderful world it must be to live in his life.
Playing golf.
Yeah, exactly about that. Dave looks incredible. Sam's just doing his normal thing, copying me. And then, well, I look half decent there because I'm stood next to Sam.
I don't recognise this photo. You were there.
We were there.
You were. This is when I first met you, Lucy, I think. So that's my. This is Dave's charity game. Fantastic charity game there.
We're not in the camera shot.
Yeah, that's what used to be Neil Ashton. Completely different human being now. It's me with no hair, and that's my son, my youngest son Wilson, and that's my youngest daughter Meadow. So they came out. The two oldest ones were too cool, obviously, to walk out with their dad. But yeah, really great day. Really enjoyed it. Have you asked Sam about that day, about his performance? Have you spoken to him about it or not? Did you bring this up? No?
I don't know.
We did. I can't remember what he said though.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be playing football anytime soon. I don't think he'll be getting selected. But no, it was a really good day. Raised loads of money.
And he scored.
I did score, Adam. Yeah, I did score. It was taken away from me. But yeah, it was a Duncan Ferguson-like header, I think, if I remember right.
We were in the commenting area booth.
Yeah, I remember speaking to you after and doing a short interview as well.
Yeah.
There's my youngest daughter, the one that, like me, doesn't get a tan.
She's adorable. Well, she's a
orange.
ginger. That
she's
makes sense.
bright orange.
Us gingers don't tan.
No.
Burn.
Literally, I gave up about 20 years ago, but she's bright orange, porcelain skin. Whenever we go on holiday, everybody tries to touch her face because she's like got her mum's piercing blue eyes. So she's very unique, very beautiful, very beautiful. I don't know how I made her.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember your first goal for Shrewsbury? A towering back post header against
Rochdale.
Rochdale, yeah, I do actually. That was an infamous game because I scored, and I actually can see it really clearly. The ball came in from the right hand side, and I remember because one of their lads who's very, very good in the air, he was put on me. I thought I'm gonna have to do really well here to get away from him, and yeah, header, ran into the corner, ran back. Remember all the Shrewsbury supporters going wild on my left. Thought that was brilliant. We were 3-1 up at half time, and it was. I just remember thinking brilliant. 45 minutes now, and then yeah, catastrophe set in. That's when me and Gary Peters really fell out after that game. We ended up losing 4-3. Joe Hart was in goal. He was actually probably at fault for a couple of the goals, but I think he was the golden boy at the time, so we weren't. I think I probably took the brunt for Joe's mistakes that day, but he hasn't made too many since, so it's let him get away with that one. But no, it was a good day. It was a good day. It just didn't quite end as we wanted to, but enjoyed the goal.
What was your relationship like with Shrewsbury Town manager Gary Peters? Oh God, sorry for butchering that.
No, it's fine. Gary Peters, so we had a very love-hate relationship. Gary was originally from Bexley Heath in London, and he moved up to Preston, and he was an adopted Lancashireman, and he just seemed to detest anything from the south. So I don't know why he decided to sign me. I think he didn't quite like the blonde hair. I think one of the best things I ever did was have a skinhead. I think he celebrated that more than he celebrated a win. Breakfast one day, came in and shaved my head, and he just stood there going, "It's amazing, brilliant, proper centre half." So
me and him would have a problem. Most of my family members are blonde.
He wouldn't be happy
Or
about that.
blonde and blue eyes.
He certainly wouldn't
The only exceptions are me and my dad.
Right, so he wouldn't be playing you centre half in any of his teams then.
No, I wouldn't want to anyways. I personally have a thing against people who have a thing against people because of a certain appearance trait.
I agree. I think we should get him on here and tell him what we think. I'm with you. No, he was. We had a very love-hate relationship.
Especially Daniel here. Look at his hair colour.
I like playing a left wing in football. I will always go for left wing.
Brilliant. So are you left-footed? Or do you cut in on your right?
In a cutting on the right.
Yeah, I can see. 100%.
Yeah.
Trying to think of Anders Limpar.
You need glasses that hook around your head, so they don't fall off.
Yeah, Edgar Davids.
Yeah, these do colour in my ears a bit, so they don't fall off as much.
Edgar Davids
they
used to
would.
have those ones,
They
didn't he?
would.
Where he used to strap them on. They look well cool. He was a good player. So yeah, we had a very love-hate relationship, but there's no hate on my side, but he was very hard on me. I think he maybe got a little bit personal, and I think because of that, maybe I didn't play as much under him. And a lot of people always say that, oh, he held you back, and you could have done so much more at Shrewsbury and so on. But actually, I probably surprise people by saying I attribute a lot of his personal traits of motivation and desire and willingness to want to be the best you can be. He was very professional. He had a very, very strong mindset, and he taught me what it was to be accountable for myself. So he is certainly someone who had a massive impact on my life, even though at the time I wasn't his biggest fan.
You had a number of loan spells at different clubs. What was it like as a player when you are moved between clubs every season?
I think when they realised that I'm probably not what they thought they were going to be, they shipped me out on loan. So I think it's just dependent on the character that you are. I think I've always been a very, very much involved in the changing room, quite a bubbly, big character. So
Chirpy.
Yes, absolutely. I think that was one word that would be used for me, chirpy. Yeah. But I think you have to earn your respect by being a good player. So I think I was always quite fortunate that when I went out on loan, you have to prove yourself as a player, and then you can start joining in with some of the banter in the changing room. But I was always very lucky. I always found, my teammates to be particularly good. So.
No, looking at the script
Sorry, I
ahead
can't
of
read
time.
I can't read that far anyway. Listen, don't worry.
If we were to speak to your wife,
Yes.
how would she describe you in 3 words?
I'm just trying to think. What would she say? She would say loving. I think she would say hard-working. I know that's 2 in 1. Sorry. And I think she would say, what would she say? A man.
Okay. Well, we have spoken to your wife, Holly. And we asked her to describe you in 3 words.
Oh,
This
no.
is what she said. She said that you are hard-working, generous and loyal. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. I will never knowingly break those characteristics. So.
We continue to ask you why. I have some more questions.
Oh no, guys,
about
what have you been doing? What have you been doing? It's a good job I can't read mine.
There's no way. There is only Adam
Right,
here.
You're
Although I would have loved to be there.
Save.
Your accomplices. You played your part in this. Don't try and shirk responsibility. You two.
Questions about you. We asked her what she thinks is your worst habit. What do you think she said?
Oh. I've been really good at it recently, but she might say nail biting. My nails are really good at the moment because I've been making a conscious effort. I don't know why I bite my nail. I'm not a nervous person. I don't really get too stressed. I think it's a habit from being a kid. I would say biting my nails.
Holly said your worst habit is that you crack your knuckles and your neck and knuckles.
Yeah, my neck. Do you want me to do it? Let's see if I can do it.
Sure.
There's that, yeah. It's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? I feel like loose, like when I do things I can just feel looser and better, and yeah, I feel like I always need to be loose. I don't like being tense and pent up. So yeah, she doesn't like that one. I'll do it. We'll be watching the television and all the kids will be sat around and I'll just go and they all go, oh. So yeah, they don't like it when I do that.
But we then asked Holly which 3 celebrities you would invite to a dinner party. What do you think she said?
Living or non-living?
They're all living, I think.
They're all
What
living.
she said. Yeah, they're all living.
Oh, who would I invite? I'm not really an idoliser. I don't really idolise people or things, but I do respect people. So I would probably say, celebrity-wise, that's a really interesting one. What would she say? Yeah, I don't really idolise people. I'm not desperate to. But who would I enjoy conversation with? Right, let's think footballer. Are we all footballers here? Is this all footballers?
No. One footballer, the rest are...
Yeah, see, I thought she'd do that, so... I don't want to make her look stupid. I'm trying to think, like, pop stars out there. Sorry, I'm really trying to rack my brains. It's a tough one. I'd probably say David Beckham would probably be one, just because he's the only one I can think of. No, not that one. No, right, scrap that then.
Do you give up?
No, let me try and have a
No
little
one
think.
recovering the answers.
So there must be another one. Right, okay. My brain's opening up a little bit now. Probably someone like a Jordan Peterson or a Joe Rogan. Love to pick their brains. They'd be scrambling to get out the door when I finish with them. Who else? Footballer. Ronaldo. 1,000,000%. Absolutely adore him. His work ethic, his mindset. Gotta be him. I'll be really disappointed if she doesn't say him. Can't have a bad word said against him. I'm assuming the laughter is because I'm right. I'm assuming I'm absolutely on point here. Right, and the other one would be... What would the other one be? Someone maybe fitness related. Right, I give up. Go on then, let's have a...
Okay.
Roy
Keane.
Roy Keane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't even believe I forgot that. Yeah.
Joe
Rogan.
Yeah, I got
Rogan.
that one then.
You did amazing.
And Russell Brand.
Yes. Oh, Russell Brand. Yeah, I do like him. But Roy Keane, 100%. Can't believe I didn't get that one. Joe Rogan, yes. Russell Brand, I wouldn't mind having a chat with him, but I'm not sure I'd invite him around for dinner. Seems like a great guy, but...
In the last question we asked Holly was if your house was burning down and you could oh no, I know where to go with. Take 3 things out of the house, what would they be?
Think about this carefully, because she will hear you. This.
Obviously, my
She
wife
will.
and kids. That'd be the first one. Our dog Stanley.
Got to.
Yeah, possessions are like, as long as it was something that it'd be something that really meant a lot. So my wife and children, obviously my dog Stanley. My eldest boy's got a gecko. My youngest daughter's got is he a hamster or something? He's a gerbil or a hamster or something like that.
Oh no.
Who's the other one? What I don't want to miss out on something here. What else would I make sure? Probably I'd grab the passports so we can go on holiday whilst it all gets sorted out.
Fair enough. Holly said you would take your family, Stanley, and a photo of your mum.
Yeah, a photo of my mum, yeah, definitely. My mum's not with us anymore, unfortunately, but she was the greatest angel that ever walked the earth, so yeah, I was
you got 2 right.
Yeah, I got 2 right, But yeah, the photo of my mum's a good one.
Mm-hmm. As a footballer, you moved from club to club very quickly.
Alright, Lisa.
How are the conversations with the manager and chairman when they're going to release you?
Yeah, like I've had quite a lot of that, to be fair. I've been very lucky because I've had a lot of adulation from managers and ex-teammates, and there's this saying that there's no friends in football. I've been really fortunate to accumulate a lot of friends, and I even have managers now that still call me Skip because I've always sort of prided myself on being a captain wherever I've been, that skipper mentality. So. But yeah, it is tough, and especially it's never personal. I don't think. Probably, like I said earlier, with Gary Peters, it was probably quite personal. But yeah, I don't think it's ever personal. Ultimately, you have to take the emotion out of it. It's business. It's football. It's your job. You have to perform, and in any job, if you're not performing or you're not doing it to the liking of the boss, then they have to be honest with you. And I think I've always respected it. I played under a guy called Mickey Mellon, who was a real man of his word, and he was excellent and. He always stuck to it, and he was very, very honest with me. Definitely valued me as a player, but I wanted to play more, and he wanted to rotate more, and he was very honest in the way he did it. And I always remember that. I always respect that.
You then settled at Telford United for a few seasons. What was it like returning to? Oh no, Shropshire. And joining Telford.
Yeah, it came about in quite a strange circumstance. So I'd just been promoted as a player coach with Solihull to the National League, but unfortunately my father had passed away, and I just felt like my business was growing. I have a wife and 4 kids, and I just felt like football was. I felt like I still had a lot in me and my legs to play, but I just felt like a lot of my time was being consumed by outside of football. So. I then went home, had a couple of months, and then Telford were really in dire straits, and my old gaffers, Rob Smith and Larry Chambers, had given me a call to go and potentially support and do some coaching. So I did that voluntarily, just thought it'd be good for me, good for the club, hung around a little bit, and then Rob Edwards then got the job from Rob and Larry leaving, and I just assumed that'd be the end of that, and got a call from Rob, and he just sort of, came and spoke highly of me, which was nice to hear, because he sort of got other information, and wanted me to carry on, so I stayed with Rob. And then, Rob sort of got to the end of the season. Wolves had sort of pulled out their investment, I think, and then the club was sort of, again, dire straits, and I ended up getting the job, probably because, there was no budget, no money, no infrastructure really. A lot of it had been stripped back, and it was in a tough position. And that probably worked in my favour to get the job. I didn't really think about going for it until I was approached. And then, got the job, and I think, we did an extraordinary job there over 3.5 years. We certainly had the lowest playing budget in the league. The ground for me was great, but infrastructure wise it was difficult at the time, and I think we had an incredible first season. Then we were plagued by the pandemic for a couple of seasons, which again, I helped a lot off the field and tried to really try and unite the club. And then I think my 4th season was, we had a tough start, and we came away from it from then. But I think we put a lot of energy and a lot of work into getting it where it got to, and then got it really sustainable. but yeah, came away really pleased. Real good apprenticeship for me as a manager to go there, and it's really difficult circumstances. You know, hugely high expectation, with not a lot to work with. So probably was the best case scenario for me, and I think in the circumstances we did an incredible job.
You then joined Nuneaton for the third time. What was it about that club that kept drawing you back to it?
Yeah, so that was more as a player as opposed to management. When I was still playing, I went to Nuneaton on loan, as we've spoken about with Canvey, had a really successful time there. And then when I come away from Shrewsbury, I had a bit of a financially an amazing move that just didn't work out well, because again, it's more important to be happy than the finances. So Nuneaton again came calling, and they were there. I went away from there again to sort of like a bigger move, and then Nuneaton again, and we had an incredible couple of years in the National League. It was, we were part-time, we were top of the league in February, really doing well. It was great time, a lot of young lads coming through that were, that actually play for me now. Brilliant characters, great lads, and it's just that the football club unfortunately has gone through a really difficult time, a drop in standard, and resulting in, coming away from what it is. They've now had to reform again as a football club, but the people will always remain. Fantastic supporters, really great people around the club, and I'll be forever in debt to a lot of the people there. When I was a young lad, they used to put me up for free. Bet and Ted used to let me stay at their place, and their daughter Mandy would look after me and make sure I got to training and help me out and support me, and you never forget those people. So I've always gone back and tried to do what I can to support and help them with things that they need, and I'm doing a little bit of that now.
We're just going to put the questions about your career to the side again for a bit and play a Would You Rather game.
Okay.
You okay with that?
Absolutely.
Night in or night out?
Night in.
Okay. Beach holiday or city break?
Beach holiday.
Sam or Dave?
Both for different reasons. Can I go, I have them both, I can't have one without the other.
Okay.
Sam's my best mate. Dave, I've just love and adore. Got a crush on him. That's about it.
Okay. Would you rather talk to animals or speak every language?
Talk to animals.
Okay. Would you rather explore space or explore the bottom of the ocean? Neither of them have oxygen.
I assume I'd have the necessary apparatus to deal with it.
I'd assume so.
Oh God, both of them scare me. I think I've just literally been to the Atlantis Hotel in Dubai, and that's obviously all of like the marina, the water, and just absolutely stunning aquarium. So I'd probably say the sea.
Okay, as long as you don't see a big shark.
Yeah, I saw a couple of them come towards the glass, and I ran the other way.
They can't hurt you.
Oh, no,
They're behind glass.
No, they're not bothered.
Wouldn't recommend it, men going into the sea where there are sharks and protecting them.
I'm bigger.
They will have you like fish jerky. I'm
bigger and uglier than them, so I think I'll be alright.
Okay. Would you rather go forward 200 years and see your future family, or go back 200 years and meet your ancestors?
Back.
Okay. Usually we have people thinking for a second or two with that one.
Normally, yes.
No. Okay, back to the questions about your career. You then retired from football and went into coaching. You became manager of Telford. How was it becoming manager after being after beginning this as a player and a captain?
Yeah, it is very different. You probably experience everything in terms of a match day. You probably experience everything of a player, but times 1,000. So the emotions are just, when you can play in a game, lose 2-0, but you've played well, so it sort of softens the blow, and you can win but not play very well, but it's okay because you've won. Whereas a manager, you're just totally reliant on the result. You have to look at the grey areas and the blurred lines, of course, but yeah, as a manager, it was very different. But I'd had a really good transition because, again, being that captain at football clubs and a senior player, I was fortunate I had managers that wanted to bring me in, and they wanted to lean on me and get me to understand. So I had a little bit of a good transition, really. So it was my first ever management game for Telford, being stood in the technical area was really exciting, and something I'll never forget.
And what is your biggest weakness as a manager, and what are you doing to improve on it?
I think with everything, I like to think that, I have an element of competence or expertise, depending on what it is, in every angle, and in every sort of approach. But I would say that always looking to improve in everything. I don't think you're ever the finished article. I think I can always improve on every little bit, and I'm always looking to do that. And it's important then to have good people around you, to have really good senior players, and I think become a product of your environment. So I'm big on culture, I'm big on environment, and having the right people around me.
Okay. What is the biggest thing you learned after becoming a manager?
I would say the management of people. So I'm very lucky that within my business at the Crossbar Group, I'm the CEO there. It's a business I started 15 years ago, and I have to manage all sorts of people from all different backgrounds, of all different ages, in different roles, and that's really helped me with football. Just having a little bit of empathy for people. And I suppose I learned as a player a little bit old school, where they would treat you a little bit dictatorish like. I treat my players like men. So look, there's no mistaking kindness for weakness, of course, but ultimately, if you're honest with people and you treat your players in the right way, then they'll often want to run through brick walls for you.
Okay. Your first season as manager at Telford was a very good one. Sadly, you missed out on the playoffs and reached the FA Trophy semi-final. How do you reflect on that season?
Incredible, absolutely incredible. We were able to unite the one thing that was the football club had really experienced probably 4 or 5 years of difficulties, maybe more than that, and it was really at its lowest ebb when we came in. It was, and what I think at the time it was described as a thankless task, and I think we just created some really positive energy. We created a real connection between the club, the players and the fans. The real key trio to what I believe is the making of a good football club, and everybody really believed in what it is that we were trying to do. And so a lot of the time that energy runs out. Sometimes people haven't got the energy to continue it, but I felt certainly in that season we really with the resources that we had and the finances or their lack of, I think we achieved something pretty extraordinary, and it was great experience.
Is it difficult managing a non-league club when the players are part-time and you don't work with the players enough to stamp your own style on the team?
I think it will obviously make it slightly more difficult because you haven't got the time, but it's never an excuse. I think you can be quite innovative with your time. I think the players nowadays are very into being the best that they can be, with things like Zoom calls and taking away their GPS gadgets to keep up with sessions, and they'll come in now and do plyometric and stability sessions on a Tuesday if we haven't got a game before training. We'll do analysis and team meetings on a Thursday. So I think you have to be innovative. You can't use it as an excuse. If anything, you use it as a positive, because the players can recover and you can really manage it. And I think we use it as a real positive, and certainly don't use it as an excuse. It's all about being innovative and creating an environment that feels full-time, even though you're part-time.
After 5 years at Telford, you left the club. Why did you and the club decide it was the right time to separate?
We've probably got different opinions on what that was. I felt as though we were in a 5-year plan. I'd been there as a sort of almost like a volunteer, which was great for me as well, as a coach for a couple of years, then got the job. It was interesting actually, because me and my assistant Phil Trainer at the time, I went to him and I said, "Great news, I've got the Telford job." And he was like, "Right, I want you to be my assistant, but the bad news is we're not going to get paid for a year." And he was like, "Oh, that doesn't sound very good." Because the finances were so low to compete, I felt as though we needed to get the staff wages in with the playing wages. So what I went to the club with was initially rejected, because again, if it hadn't worked out with us, they would have then had a playing budget and would have had to employ another manager. But I asked them to be committed to me and to believe in what we were doing. They did. So for a year, we actually didn't. We put our money back into the playing budget. That created a better squad and a few more players, or certainly better calibre of players. So then we went into the pandemic, and obviously that was extremely difficult in itself. Having to manage that. And then we came out of it. Yeah, we had a bit of a tough start to the 4th season, but nothing that we wouldn't have recovered from.
Maybe you could have done online training sessions like your team.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe.
Although you'd have to buy some pretty strong screens.
Yeah, I think that they would be gigantic screens, wouldn't they? And I'm not sure the stadium would allow for it. So we ended up having a difficult start to the season, and I was a little bit aggrieved that I felt that everybody deserted what is that we'd done previously. I think, but fans are fickle. Fans don't remember those times. They don't realise how brilliant the brilliance that we've done. Really, I was practically working full time. I've got my own business, so me and the staff were all working. When the pitch was being flooded, I was down there with the fans at 7 o'clock in the morning sweeping the pitch. I was down there on a Wednesday afternoon meeting players when a lot of managers part time don't do that stuff. So I think what we did there was I'm very proud of, and I think we turned the club around for a long period of time, and ultimately when it came to it, it was an easy conversation. I think I was owed a lot of money with my contract, and just as always, I never wanted to hold the club to ransom. There'd been months had gone by that I'd vacated my wages, which is probably the first time I'm saying this actually. So, but I think it's important that people realise the job and the lengths that we went to try and turn the club around and unite it. And I walked away from a lot of money just because it was about the football club. It was never about that for me. It was about success and legacy. And the conversation was pretty easy. I think it was a bit of confusion actually. I think I'd sort of volunteered to walk away, and they were a little bit shocked, but maybe a little bit under pressure from fans who, again, they live and die by results. So they don't understand the ingredients of what goes on behind the scenes. So I appreciate that, and I'll be honest, it was a nice weight off my shoulders. I probably.
Hey, we like poking behind the scenes to see what's going on.
Oh yeah, you're getting exclusives now. Stuff I've never said before. So no, it's good. It's it was a weight off my shoulders because there was a lot of time and energy and effort that had gone into it, and I think we were probably doing more than we should, or we certainly were. We're going above and beyond, and it was nice to go on holiday.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
In is that the right one? In 2023, you became manager of. I don't know where I am.
You can do it. Go on, you can do it.
In 2023, you became manager of. Oh God. Brackley Town.
Brilliant, well done.
New Madrid.
Yeah, I love it.
Can you tell us how that move came about?
Well, first of all, Dan, you've done better than most people because people call it Berkeley Town, Barclay Town, like at the same.
Woof, woof?
Yeah, woof woof. Yeah, we get it all, but yeah, it's definitely Brackley Town. So well done, mate.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, it was a real privilege. As I was saying earlier, when I was at Nuneaton, there was sort of what I'd like to think is like one of my prodigies, really. I'd like to act as a mentor to him. An extraordinary lad, Gav Dean, who's the captain there, and he was injured. The manager had been sacked, and they'd asked him to take over to the end of the season, and then he just asked me to go in and support. So I got a little bit of a behind-the-scenes view of the club, and they then came to me and asked me to apply. Really, I didn't really feel like it came along with any integrity, because I feel like if someone asks you to do something, you should do it without the expectation of anything in return. So spoke to Gaz, and he was like, "Are you crazy? I want you to go for the job. I told them to go and get you." So it was a no-brainer. So I'd sort of gone for the job, jumped through hoops. There's lots of presentations you have to do, budget forecasts and planning, and yeah, it's very intense, but really good experience. And in the end, got given the job, and a big part of that was because of the people there. It's an extraordinary community. There really is a link between the fans, the people at the club, and the players. And we've definitely got a core group of players there that we can build around again this season. Fans are just start of the season for me. We were playing really well, and a bit hit and miss with results. We were still in the mix, but a bit hit and miss. But it was incredible for me that for the first time I'd ever experienced it in football, the supporters were probably educated enough to understand and see that there was something good happening there. We were playing extremely well, but just probably needed to learn and understand our unique way of playing. And then we hit Boxing Day and caught fire, and then we got to the playoff final and unfortunately lost out right at the end. But it was extraordinary effort from the players, and hopefully something we can build on.
What is the biggest difference between managing Telford and Brackley?
Not wanting to be derogatory, I think Brackley is probably a more of a well-rounded football club. I think not to say that is the case now. Certainly when I was there, I would assume it's the same with the knowledge that I have. But I would say that Brackley you're dealing with I would say a high calibre of player. You're dealing with probably a better infrastructure. It's probably certainly a step up in terms of logistics day to day. The Telford is an incredibly big club for non-league, and it's steeped in history. And I was very proud to be the captain there. We had probably one of the most successful seasons in the club's history when I was there. A lot of love for AFC Telford. But at this moment in time, Brackley are just that little bit more together. That the fans are very, very on board with the club and the players. That always helps. They don't get as emotional, but like I say, very, very proud to have managed both football clubs. Certainly Telford, but me being a local lad now, very, very proud. Desperate to see them do well. The manager there, I was his captain. I take a bullet for the guy, so hopefully I never need to. But he, I really, really hope they can get back up the league and really establish themselves. So I'm always watching to see if they can get their results. But Brackley at the moment, just a fantastic football club.
You are manager of Brackley and live in Telford. Brackley is just under 2 hours from Telford. How do you manage your time between home and the football club?
Time management is definitely high on my agenda. So I think with a wife, 4 children, I run a business that's a group of businesses. And being a football manager, I'm very, very lucky. As I said before, I've got amazing people around me. So I'm lucky to have brilliant people who feed into me, who are very much about the culture of what we do. So I have an amazing wife and kids at home. I've got brilliant management staff at Crossbar, and like I say, I'm lucky. My head of operations of the whole group is my assistant manager at football. So we get to have almost those hour and a half, 2 hour meetings in the car on the way to football. So never a minute wasted. Never a minute wasted. Looking forward to another holiday.
We've been hearing that word a lot in the podcast.
Yeah.
If you're in the football world this time of year, the word holiday gets said an awful lot. So
To be fair, I'm looking forward to my holiday in the 6 weeks.
Lovely.
Yeah, we have only this week and after this week 6 more weeks before we get to our summer holidays.
So you get your holidays. So then we'll just hear you two going on about holidays all the time.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I just have to deal with this guy blowing up my phone with text messages.
Yeah.
That's not my fault that you don't like answering them. And then you do.
I'm like that with my phone. I've got to admit, I get so many. I'm just like, I'll come back to it in a minute. So I'm a nightmare with my phone.
I usually answer right away,
you,
but sometimes my phone, I'm doing something else at the time, Dan.
And other times you just forget your phone exists.
But what you're going to do, Daniel, is you're going to go on holiday and you're going to send loads of pictures of the beach and the pool and send them across, and that's it. So you're going to be a nose, I think that's what's going to happen. So just maybe just send some easy text messages, or just take loads of selfies of yourself by the pool and. And you was it